Discover the incredible life-changing story of ARES, a heartwarming transformation exposed. It was a frigid winter morning in Maplewood, Wisconsin. The kind that bit at your cheeks and made you appreciate warmth like never before. ARES stood in his family's auto shop, grease-stained hands clutching a wrench, surrounded by the comforting hum of familiar machinery. This place, filled with the echoes of his father's laughter and the smell of motor oil, felt like a second home. Yet, today was different today. The air was heavy with dread. Just as he tightened a valve cover, his phone rang, punctuating the low drone of the shop. The words on the other end crashed into him like a freight train. His daughter Emily, his only child, was teetering on the edge of homelessness. Memories of their last blow-up came flooding back, the sharp words flung like arrows between them. ARES' heart twisted painfully. He had loved her fiercely but was too stuck in his own pride to reach out. The community that watched him like hawks now felt like a prison, whispering tales of his failure, daring him to take that first step forward. But he couldn't turn his back on her. No way. Not anymore. With a reluctant resolve, ARES invited Emily home, knowing it could turn into a battleground once more. Tara, his wife, offered a slight smile, but her eyes mirrored an ocean of unresolved pain. ARES felt the weight of unspoken words weighing down the very walls of their home. As he watched Emily walk through that door, frozen in the cold, the air crackled with tension. Each of them held years of hurt tightly under their skin. The days turned into weeks of trying to rebuild what had once been. Friendly chatter at the diner morphed into scornful whispers about ARES. Can't even manage his own daughter, they'd say. Yet amidst the tension, small moments began to sprout: fixed bikes in the yard, late-night conversations bubbling over coffee, laughter ringing like a fleeting melody. ARES felt that flicker of hope, a semblance of a bond he thought was lost forever. Then came the hammer that would shake their world. A corporate figure loomed, threatening to swallow up the auto shop that had been a sanctuary for so many. Panic gripped ARES' chest, and his heart raced. How could he let this happen? The thought of losing everything: his legacy, his daughter's affection, felt like a storm about to swallow him whole. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Standing before the community in the shop's faded glow, ARES could feel their eyes scrutinizing him, judging him for past mistakes. He took a deep breath and spoke about the struggle they all shared and the homes they built together. With every word, tension swelled in the room, palpable and thick. Would they unite behind him? Would they lend their strength? Did he dare hope for a second chance, not just for his business, but for healing with Emily? As he stared into the faces of the community, he sensed a shift, a flicker of possibility, even amidst the looming clouds of uncertainty. In that moment of electricity, ARES stood, heart pounding. Would he be able to save not just his shop but the legacy of love that had slipped away? The silence in the shop felt heavy as ARES finished speaking. Every pair of eyes held a story of its own. Some faces were etched with skepticism, while others glimmered with empathy. The room seemed to pulse with the collective heartbeat of a community that had weathered its own storms. Just then, Jake, a longtime patron and friend, shifted forward, breaking the uneasy stillness. ARES, your shop is part of this town. We've all come here looking for a lifeline, he said, his voice steady. We can't let it go without a fight. The words swept through the crowd, igniting murmurs of agreement. ARES felt a spark of hope, but doubt still gnawed at him. Could a community so filled with judgment really stand in his corner? With a growing sense of resolve, ARES looked at Emily, who stood off to the side, arms crossed. The hurt in her eyes was raw. What if it's too late? Her gaze seemed to ask. He could read the question in her body language, curled in on itself like a tight ball. You're not alone in this, he said softly, focusing on her. You never were. We'll figure it out together. The conviction in his voice surprised even him. Emily's expression shifted slightly. Just a hint of something. Was it curiosity? Hope? Ares couldn't tell. He could feel Tara's presence beside him, offering a silent connection. Support wrapped in the familiarity of years spent together. Then, as if to affirm this moment, a couple of the customers stepped forward, nodding in solidarity. We'll help with whatever you need. Donations, hands on the ground, maybe even some fundraising, said Sarah, a single mother who used to bring her kids in for little repairs. Each word felt like a building block, stitching the fabric of their community back together. As Ares listened to them rally, he felt a swell in his chest. This was more than about saving the shop. It was about resurrection, a chance to revive what had slipped away from him. Together, they could carve a new path with Emily by his side. But doubts still lingered in his mind like shadows. Would this be enough? Would they really come together? Or was this just a moment of collective emotion that would fade when the dust settled? That night, as they all went home, Ares lay awake, wrestling with the weight of uncertainty. He'd taken a step into the unknown, reaching out for help but fearing what it might reveal. The thought both exhilarated and terrified him. Days passed, and plans began to take shape. The community rallied, hosting bake sales, car washes, and a charity auction. The shop became a hub, filled with laughter and chatter as strangers turned into friends. Ares lost count of the tasks at hand, but with each event, Emily appeared a little more hopeful. He could see her walls starting to crack as she engaged with the people around them, no longer standing alone. But just when it seemed the clouds were beginning to part, an unexpected call shattered their fragile peace. A corporate lawyer phoned, hinting at a deal that would turn the tides against them, and the clock was ticking. Would they find the strength to face this new challenge head-on? Or would the forces trying to tear them apart ultimately win? As Ares stood in the shop, surrounded by buzzing energy, he realized one thing for certain. The greatest battles are not fought alone, and sometimes, the most significant victories arise from the ashes of despair. What would happen next? As the stakes rose higher and time ran short, the world outside the shop was about to change in ways none of them could foresee. Ares stood at the counter, the phone still buzzing in his hand like a warning siren. The voice on the other end, smooth and confident, wrapped itself around his mind. Offer, buyout, writes his thoughts tangled in a storm of possibilities. A tremor of panic coursed through him. How could he let go? This place was more than walls and tools. It was memories, laughter, dreams. And now, someone sat in an office, weighing it as if it were just another, on a spreadsheet. He glanced around the shop, spotting familiar faces engaged in laughter. Tara was greeting a new customer, her eyes sparkling with warmth. Jake was recounting a funny repair story to a small group, ensuring everyone was included in the vastness of his enthusiasm. And Emily, there she was, her smile radiant as she arranged a display of freshly baked goods from the day's fundraiser. In this moment, the shop felt alive, buzzing with purpose, and he couldn't shake the feeling that not all hope was lost. But the lawyer's words echoed in his head. Time was ticking. He had to act. Making a decision solely based on emotion wasn't a choice. He had to be strategic, protective of what mattered. Hey, everyone, Ares called out, his voice filling the shop and capturing the attention of his community. Can I have your attention for a second? The laughter faded, curiosity leaning in. He felt the weight of their hopes on his shoulders but steadied himself, drawing breath. We have a challenge ahead. I received a call about a potential buyout. A big company is interested in purchasing the shop. Gasps filled the air, a mix of shock and urgency. The support from the bake sales, the laughter, the growing connections, they all hung in the balance. Tara moved closer, her concern palpable. Whoa, Ares, are you serious? Jake asked, his tone shifting from jovial to serious in an instant. They can't just come in and take this away from us. That's exactly why we need a plan, Ares replied, steeling himself. We're not going to let this happen without a fight, right? He scanned the crowd, finding agreement flickering in their eyes. I'd be happy to help brainstorm, Emily said, stepping forward. Her voice, once timid, carried a new authority. It was a reminder that he'd seen change in her too. I mean, if they think they can just take our community from us, they have another thing coming. With Emily by his side, ARES felt a rush of inspiration. Let us rally everyone again, he proposed. We can organize a town meeting, create flyers, share our story. We can show them that this shop is more than a business. It's our home. People nodded, voices rising in agreement. Ideas flowed, plans began to take shape, and mobilization started as excitement built in waves throughout the shop. ARES felt like he was igniting something within them, a fire that had once seemed out of reach as they shared plans and strategies. He couldn't help but steal glances at Emily. She was fired up, her spirit contagious. Could it be that, through this fight, they were forging something stronger? But then, a sudden doubt crept into his mind. What if their fight wasn't enough? What if the pressure was too great? But as he looked around, a sense of determination washed over him. They might not have all the answers yet, but they were willing to stand together. All right, team, let us do this, ARES announced, pumping his fist as cheers erupted around him. It felt like a turning point, moments filled with a blend of fear and excitement. Little did they know, the real test was yet to come. Will they stand strong against the tide of corporate pressure? Or will the daunting forces challenge everything they hold dear? The clock was ticking, and they could feel the storm brewing. ARES stood at the front of the shop, his heart racing as cheers filled the air. The energy was contagious, a surging tide of determination washing over everyone. Tara was already drafting flyers, her fingers flying over the paper as if she'd been waiting for this moment. Jake rallied the group, assigning roles and responsibilities, his infectious enthusiasm bringing everyone closer together. Okay, people, we're gonna host a town meeting next Friday. We'll invite everyone, Jake shouted, clapping his hands together. Everyone needs to know what's at stake here. Emily was deep in thought, her brows furrowed in concentration. ARES noticed the wheels turning in her mind and felt a swell of admiration. He leaned in, wanting to hear what she was strategizing. What if we share our stories? She said, her voice steady. Our customers have built memories here, let us showcase them. If we can show how much this place means to our community, we might just win their hearts. ARES' heart swelled again, and he nodded vigorously. Yes, let us gather testimonials. We can even set up a storytelling corner during the meeting. Just then, the bell above the door jingled, and in walked Mr. Thompson, the older gentleman whose grandchildren spent Saturdays racing cars on the shop's counter. He caught the tail end of their discussion and approached, eyes wide with concern. Is it true, ARES? They're really thinking of taking this place away? ARES swallowed hard, glancing at his team before facing Mr. Thompson. Yes, sir, but we're not going down without a fight. We're organizing a community meeting to share what this place means to all of us. Mr. Thompson's face softened, revealing a mix of sorrow and determination. This shop has been a second home for my family. I'd hate to see it disappear. He placed a hand on ARES' shoulder, a gesture of solidarity. Count me in for whatever you need. The warmth spreading from Mr. Thompson's touch brought a lump to ARES' throat. It was moments like these that reminded him why he had poured his heart into this place. As they continued to rally support, ARES felt a new purpose growing inside him. Yes, they were standing up against a powerful corporation, but they were also forging connections that transcended mere business. They were building a community as the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting warm hues through the shop windows. ARES took a moment to glance around. Everyone was engaged and energized, pouring themselves into this cause. It felt like history in the making, a testament to what could happen when people refused to back down. But beneath the excitement lay a gnawing worry. Even with their dedication, the looming threat of the corporate giant felt like an indifferent force of nature. It was hard to shake the fear that their fight might not be enough. That evening, as ARES cleaned the counter, he stole another glance at Emily. She was leading a group in crafting ideas for the meeting, her passion shining through like a beacon. Did she know how much she inspired him? Hey ARES, she called, breaking through his thoughts. Can you come over here for a second? He moved towards her, curious. A A smile bloomed on her face, one that sent a bolt of warmth straight to his core. I was thinking maybe we should do a short video. Capture everyone's stories, like a visual testament to our resistance. Great idea. Ares replied, his excitement bubbling up. You really have a knack for this, don't you? Her eyes sparkled, and in that moment, Ares recognized something profound blooming between them, a shared purpose, a bond deepening through their fight. But as they planned, the clock ticked ominously in the back of his mind. Time was slipping away, and the corporation could strike at any moment. Let us get to work, Emily said, unaware of the weight resting on Ares's shoulders. As they moved forward, crafting their message to the community, Ares couldn't shake the feeling that the next few days would determine everything. Would they spark the change needed to save their shop? Unknown to them, just down the block, the corporate representative smiled coldly, a plan of his own already in motion. What would they face next, and how would the tides turn? The fight was stretching ahead of them, and Ares felt the pressure mount. Would their resolve hold, or would the storm prove too fierce? Ares spent the next few days immersed in preparations for the community meeting. The air between him and Emily crackled with nervous energy as they worked late into the evening, crafting messages that echoed the heartbeat of their shop. As Tara printed flyers, the colorful ink smeared slightly, but it didn't matter. It made everything feel all the more real, a patchwork of the community stitched together in hope. The anticipation built as Friday approached. Ares could feel the weight of every flyer, every word spoken, every story shared. Night after night, he replayed the scenarios in his mind. Would people truly come? Could they connect in a way that would save the shop they all loved? When the day finally arrived, Ares stood in front of the gathered crowd, a sea of familiar faces staring back at him. His heart raced. Emily, beside him, clutched a clipboard, her fingers tapping nervously against the paper. Thank you all for coming. He took a deep breath as the murmurs quieted. Today, we're not just here to talk about this shop. We're celebrating the memories we've created and the impact this place has had on our lives. A chorus of nodding heads and murmurs of agreement filled the air. A long time ago, I came in here looking for a small toy, Mr. Thompson said, stepping forward. And what I found was family. This shop is more than just bricks and mortar. It's our history and our future. He was met with applause, a ripple of encouragement that surged through Ares. It was moments like these that affirmed what they were fighting for. One by one, other members of the community began to share their stories, tales of birthday parties, rainy afternoon adventures, and the quiet moments of connection that happened just by being in the shop. Ares watched, pride swelling in his chest. Emily's smile lit up as she filmed the testimonials, capturing the spirit of every speaker. He could see the hope growing, that glimmer of resistance forming a wave of determination that rolled over everyone in attendance. Then, just as the meeting began to feel like a victory, a figure appeared at the back of the crowd. A tall man with a slick suit stood out like a cloud in a clear sky. It was the corporate representative, and his gaze was fixed intently on Ares. Chills ran down Ares' spine as he recognized that predatory look. The man leaned into the whispers of his board, his presence overshadowing the heartfelt gathering with unspoken menace. Ares' stomach churned, as if someone had twisted a knife inside him. Could they really be threatened here, where they were finally fighting back? As the final speaker wrapped up, Jake stepped forward, determination etched in his features. This isn't just about saving a shop, he said. It's about protecting a community. Let us show them we're not going down without a fight. Cheers erupted, but Ares felt that cold gaze of the representative boring into him. What was the plan? What move would that corporation make next? With the meeting wrapping up, he caught Emily's eye. She looked energized but also a little unsure, sensing the tension. We'll keep fighting, won't we? She said, hope mingled with fear in her voice. Of course, Ares replied, trying to hide his own growing doubt. As they began to pack up, the representative strode forward. A grim smile twisted his lips. Impressive show, folks. But I wouldn't hold my breath. You've got no idea what you're up against. Ares felt the breath hitch in his throat. They had come so far, but now a chill crept back in, and he realized that the fight was far from over. With one final glance, the man turned and walked away. Ares knew all too well that they were now in a high-stakes game. Suddenly, the weight of it all crashed down on him. The community had rallied behind them, but what would happen when the real fight began? Little did they know, the representative had a strategy, one that could unravel everything they had built. Would Ares and his team uncover this threat in time? Or was the dream of a united community already slipping away? As the last claps faded into the evening air, Ares gathered the remaining flyers and glanced around at the faces of the community. Hope flickered, but the weight of uncertainty hugged close to his heart. He felt a knot tightening in his stomach at the thought of the corporate representative's words. Emily bit her lip, her eyes scanning the crowd before settling on Ares, deep concern shadowing her expression. What if he really has a plan? Ares shrugged, trying to exude confidence he didn't feel. We won't let them intimidate us. We have each other. With all of this fire behind us, we can't back down. She insisted, clenching her fists as if to summon strength from within. Yeah, but what about the next steps? Ares' voice was softer now, struggling to mask the worry he felt. Together, they started cleaning up the area, but their spirits felt heavy. Tara joined them, the fatigue in her eyes contrasting with the earlier vibrancy. We need to regroup. This isn't just about the store anymore. It's about making sure we don't lose the heart of our community. Ares nodded, knowing she was right. Still, the gnawing question remained. But how do we do this? Jake approached, determination radiating from him. I've been thinking, he started, what if we turn this into something bigger? A community fair, something that draws in even more people. If we show them what we stand for, it'll be hard for the corporation to justify their move. The idea sparked within Ares like a small flame. We could set up local vendors, games for kids, workshops. We can make it a celebration of everything we love about this shop and our town. That's it. Emily's eyes brightened. We can invite local musicians, artists. Could be a festival that showcases everything meaningful. The energy began to shift. Ares felt the embers of hope breathing back to life. They gathered ideas, music playlists, and potential vendors. Excited voices filled the space, laughter cutting through the earlier tension. But even amidst the excitement, thoughts of the corporate representative whispered in Ares' mind. Could they really pull this off? What if, deep down, they were too late? Would turning their community spirit into a fair matter in a corporate world that thrived on profit? When it was time to head home, Ares walked Emily to her car. The night was cool, the stars twinkling like little promises hanging above them. He could see that the fire still burned in her eyes, but he knew it couldn't last forever without fuel. Ares, she said, stopping him just before she climbed in the driver's seat. Promise me we won't let fear win. He took a breath, wrapping his arms around her shoulders. Promise. Whatever we face, we'll get through it together. As she drove away, Ares lingered for a moment, looking up at the stars. A mixture of hope and dread swirled inside him. They were gearing up for a battle, one that felt daunting yet oddly exhilarating. But what would happen if they couldn't gather the support they needed? What would the corporate giant do when they realized the community wasn't backing down? In the days that followed, Ares and the volunteers dove deep into preparations. They reached out to neighbors, signed up vendors, planned games for children, and spread the word like wildflowers in spring. Yet somewhere in the back of his mind, dread lurked. Could their efforts really change the inevitable? And would it be enough to confront the shadow of the corporate representative before it stomped out their flickering flame? As the festival approached, Ares could feel the pulse of anticipation, but the shadow of uncertainty stretched longer with each passing day. The real test loomed closer, and whispers of the representative's plans hung in the air, waiting to be uncovered. The festival was just 5 days away, and Ares felt as if he were caught in a whirlwind. Flyers filled every corner of town, businesses rallied behind them, and everyone seemed excited, but he still felt a tightness in his chest. The pressure was building, and he couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking a tightrope over a chasm in the community center. Ares paced back and forth as he reviewed the final checklist. tables for vendors, permits for entertainment, and a lineup of activities all needed his attention. There were moments when laughter erupted from the group, but as Ares looked into the eyes of his friends, he saw the same mix of hope and worry mirrored there. "You think people will show?" Tara's voice broke through his thoughts, her brow furrowed in worry. "Of course. Everyone loves a good fair," Jake added, though he seemed to be convincing himself as much as anyone else. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow through the windows, and Ares took a moment to inhale deeply. "We're gonna put on a hell of a show," he said, trying to gather his strength. "This is about us, our community. We've got something special here." Every day brought its own challenges. A vendor backed out last minute. Another complained about the lack of space. Ares could feel the doubts creeping in, threatening to steal the joy from their hard work. Each email, each call, felt like it rumbled against his resolve. Emily showed up unexpectedly during one of those long days, a bundle of energy and fresh ideas. "I brought snacks," she said, setting a bag of cookies on the table. "Also, I think we should incorporate a gratitude board at the fair. People can write down why they love the store, the community, or anything they appreciate." Ares felt a flicker of warmth spread through him. The idea was simple yet so meaningful. It would celebrate what they were fighting to preserve. That's brilliant. It's a way for everyone to feel part of it. They spent hours brainstorming. Emily was a beacon of positivity, interjecting shared memories and laughter, filling the room with warmth. Ares often glanced at her, admiring how her spirit lifted his. The fear began to fade, replaced by a determination that felt contagious. But as excitement bubbled, something in the back of his mind warned him. They couldn't ignore the looming corporate giant. Ares felt a sting of reality set in like an unexpected chill. What if they pulled all this together only to have it end in disappointment? The night before the festival, Ares couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, turning over every worst-case scenario in his head. What if they failed? What if the corporate representative showed up, ready to squash their hopes before they even had a chance to blossom? He pulled out his phone, scrolling through messages from the group. "We've got this," he typed, even though self-doubt tugged at his heart. He knew they had to believe it if they were going to fight back. When he finally fell asleep, it felt as if he had barely closed his eyes before his phone buzzed with morning light. It was a group text announcing that the corporate representative was on site, ready to observe their preparation the very day of the festival. Ares' heart plummeted. He felt the weight of impending doom. Had they even begun to understand what they were up against? As he rushed to meet the team, each step felt heavier, laden with uncertainty. The community had worked so hard. Did they have enough fight left in them? And in that moment, surrounded by the scent of fresh paint and anticipation, he wondered, would their strength be tested in real time? Would they rise together, or would they fall apart under pressure? The sun climbed high in the sky, casting a bright light over the festival grounds. Ares took a deep breath as he stepped into the hustle of the day. Banners fluttered in the gentle breeze, and laughter floated through the air. But beneath the surface, a tension simmered. The team was already busy setting up. Tables were being covered with cloths, and vendors carried in boxes filled with their goods. Ares caught sight of Emily, her hair tied back and a determined look on her face, guiding the flow of people. Watching her, Ares felt his heart swell with a mix of admiration and anxiety. They had come so far, yet the fear of the corporate giant loomed over them all. "Hey, you good?" Tara called, snapping him out of his daze. He nodded, but it felt like a lie. "Just thinking about everything we need to do before noon." "Well, stop stressing. We've prepared for this." Tara grinned, tossing a colorful flyer in the air. "It's going to be amazing." Ares forced a smile, the echo of her confidence touching something in him. But doubt still clawed at the edges of his mind. He moved toward the gratitude board they'd created the night prior and ran his fingers over the blank sheets. It represented hope, the chance for people to voice their appreciation for what truly mattered. "Can't wait to see what people write," Emily said, bouncing up beside him, her eyes shining. "It's going to be a beautiful addition." "Yes, it is," Ares replied, trying hard to match her enthusiasm. Behind her excitement, he thought about the corporate representative. What would they say? How would they react to their little community and its festivities? As the clock crept toward the start of the festival, more locals arrived, filling the grounds with familiar faces. The warmth of community wrapped around him, lifting the weight on his shoulders just a little. He started to believe they might truly pull this off. Just then, the unmistakable figure of the corporate representative, dressed in a sharp suit, stepped onto the fairgrounds, clipboard in hand. His brows were furrowed, and he surveyed everything with a critical eye. Ares' heart dropped to his stomach, and fear flooded his veins. "What's he doing here?" Jake muttered, standing tall next to Ares. "He's just here to observe," Ares replied, though the words felt hollow. "That's all." A whirlwind of thoughts raced through Ares' mind. What if the representative found something wrong? What if he decided to ruin it all? But then he remembered the gratitude board, the people who believed in this fair as a symbol of their community's spirit. There was strength in togetherness, he reminded himself. "I need to talk to him," Ares said, surprising himself with the boldness in his voice. He turned to Jake and Tara. "Stay here and keep things moving. I'll be back." Ares walked towards the representative, steeling himself. Each step felt heavy, filled with the weight of moments yet lived. The crowd thickened around him, humming with excitement and chatter, yet his world narrowed to the man ahead of him. "Excuse me," Ares called out, trying to mask the tremor in his voice. The corporate representative turned, his expression inscrutable. "Yes?" Ares swallowed hard. "I'm Ares, the organizer. I just wanted to share what this festival means to our community." As Ares spoke, he felt the doubts begin to dissolve, little by little. Would his message resonate, or would it fall flat? But deep down, something shifted in him. He wasn't just fighting for a festival. He was fighting for a piece of home, for the joy it brought them all, for the bond they shared. The fear was still there, but now so was a spark of hope. And as the words flowed, he wondered if they could truly make a difference. Would the community's joy be powerful enough to prevail against the cold shadow cast by corporate ambition? Ares felt his voice build as he spoke about the laughter, the culture, and the connections formed over years of gathering for this festival. The weight of the corporate world tried to press down on him, but the warmth of the community buzzed like a live wire in his veins. He saw small moments flash in his mind: the elderly couple dancing at last year's fair, the kids competing in pie-eating contests, the vendors swapping stories while roasting corn on the grill. The representative blinked, seemingly unyielding, his clipboard thick in his hands. Ares could almost hear the gears turning in that stoic mind. "Interesting," the man mused, jotting down something on his paper. Ares held his breath, sensing that this moment could sway everything. "What's essential about this for you?" The representative's voice was flat, devoid of any warmth. It was a trap, tempting Ares to share something profound, to reveal that this was more than just a set of festive activities. "It's about connection," Ares replied, his heartbeat quickening. "In a world that limits us, this festival breaks down walls. It brings together people to celebrate our real selves, our culture. This isn't just a party. It's our foundation." His words were crisp, laced with emotion, and with each one, he saw the representative's brow lines soften slightly. Behind him, the crowd erupted in cheers as the mayor declared the festival officially open. Ares glanced back at the familiar faces, all illuminated with joy. They believed in this. Shouldn't he expect the same from the representative? "Closure on your end?" the man asked, eyes drifting back to Ares. "Do you think that spirit will hold against corporate needs?" "People need this," Ares insisted, pushing past the fear. "When you strip away all the commercialism, you find what truly matters. Community. We're all in this together. If you take this away, you take that away too." The representative shifted, glancing at the gratitude board, now filling with names and heartfelt messages from attendees. A few wrote about their dreams, their struggles, and how these moments of celebration provided them hope. Ares caught Emily's eye across the crowd. She was pointing excitedly at the board, her smile contagious. "Do Do you really think something like this can last? The representative asked, his voice softer now, as if a crack had formed in his armor. Everything we've built here is a testament to resilience, ARES declared, feeling the warmth grow in his chest. Take a look. Look at them. This is something real. They deserve to have their voices heard. The representative paused, a flicker in his gaze. Maybe he'd seen something that day he hadn't expected. A small shift towards connection, the essence of what they were fighting for. Let me talk to you later, he said, almost reluctantly, and with that, he walked away into the crowd, clipboard in hand but perhaps now filled with something more than just notes. ARES let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding, turning back toward his friends. Jake and Tara rushed towards him, excitement spilling over. What did he say? Tara asked, eyes wide. I think he's considering it, ARES said, surprise flooding his own voice. The festival buzzed with energy. The community was alive. Their stories, their beliefs echoed in the air. Amid the revelry, ARES felt a flicker of hope. Was it enough? Did one conversation, one moment of vulnerability, matter against everything they had to fight? As music played and laughter danced in the air, ARES couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenge was yet to come. Just then, a loud crack of thunder rolled overhead. The vibrant festivities were suddenly interrupted by dark clouds rolling in. Oh, Jake murmured, eyes darting up. Would the storm ruin everything they had worked for? ARES's heart raced as he scanned the sky, feeling the fun of the festival slip through his fingers. Would their fight for their community withstand this test? As the first droplets of rain began to fall, ARES felt a sharp pang of fear grip his heart. The festival, a culmination of hope and hard work, was threatened. People looked up, expressions shifting from joy to anxiety. Get the tents, ARES shouted, his voice cutting through the sudden rising panic. We need to protect what we can. All around him, the atmosphere morphed from celebration to chaos. Vendors scrambled to cover their goods, families sought shelter, and children squealed in both delight and fear. Yet in the heart of the turmoil, ARES felt resolve strengthen within him. This was no storm to break their spirit. Emily dashed to help Tara, her laughter mingling with the chaos. This isn't over yet, she shouted, brushing rain from her face as she worked. ARES could see the fire in her spirit. It ignited a flicker of hope in him that a voice broke through the frantic atmosphere. Everyone, listen up. Jake stood on a crate, rain pouring down, and somehow he commanded attention. Let us keep this festival going. We didn't come this far just to let some rain stop us. Who's with me? Cheers erupted in response. A chorus of determination that rang through the storm. ARES's heart swelled as he saw people pulling together, grabbing blankets, helping one another set up whatever they could to shelter the festivities. It was a sight that shone brighter than the sun behind the clouds. They were resilient. The rain poured harder, but they didn't retreat. Instead, they transformed the chaos into celebration. Laughter ringing out as the community huddled together beneath makeshift shelters. ARES looked around, awash in gratitude. Every droplet became a reminder that unity was unyielding, stronger than the storm as the music played on. He noticed the corporate representative re-emerging from the crowd. This time, he wasn't just observing. He was trying to navigate the mess with a slight smile creeping onto his face when he caught a glimpse of a child dancing in the rain to the rhythm of their band. This wasn't just a festival anymore. It was a testament to something greater. ARES met the representative's gaze, and a silent understanding passed between them. The corporate grip was strong, but so was the bond of community. ARES took a deep breath. They were ready to show the representative just how far they would go for their home as the rain began to soften. The community gathered around the gratitude board, now drenched but still standing tall. ARES took his chance and spoke again, rallying his voice over the murmur of the crowd. Look at what we've built together. Storm or shine, we will stand strong. This is our heart. We won't let anyone take it away. The crowd erupted in applause, hands clapping, faces blazing with renewed confidence. ARES turned to the representative, who stood observing, a mix of realization and admiration flickering across his serious facade. The moment was electric. This was their stand. It was the embodiment of everything the auto shop represented, not just a business, but a place where memories, laughter, and resilience thrived. As the rain finally began to fade to a gentle drizzle, ARES stepped back, surveying the festival. He spotted Emily, dancing wildly with kids, freeing their laughter into the damp air. The community was alive and united, a tidal wave against the indifference of the corporate giant. At that moment, ARES knew they had forged something indestructible. As the clouds broke and sunlight began to seep through once again, a warm glow enveloped the festival, illuminating each joyful face. Right then, he felt a sense of liberation wash over him. Finally approaching the corporate representative, ARES spoke earnestly. You've seen what this community is capable of. What we've created here is priceless. Join us. Let us find a way to grow together instead of tearing us apart. The representative paused. A flicker of respect passed across his face. I see it now, he replied slowly, his voice softer, almost humbled. You've got something very special here. As they shook hands, ARES could feel the tide turning. Hope morphed into reality, and all the fears they once had seemed to drift away like the storm clouds overhead. The festival unfolded around them, a palette of joy in every corner, filled with the promise of a united future. The fight wasn't over, but they had weathered the storm together. ARES saw the rich, vibrant life that poured out from the community, a pride that didn't rely on survival against giants, but rather thrived in the togetherness that would never waver. And as laughter filled the air and sunlight broke through to warm the world once more, ARES knew in his heart, home was not just a shop. It was the love, the connection, and the dedication to stand firm, no matter the storm. Now, let us act. You need to subscribe now to stay tuned for more compelling stories of hope and transformation. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and help these inspiring tales continue. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need this kind of hope in their lives. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support is what keeps this journey alive.